I've been walking past this plant pretty much every day. It's just outside the one of the doors to the building, and I've been calling it lavender because, I mean, it does sort of look like lavender. But I'm not sure that it is because it has very long stems, and then the leaves are very, very different to what I know of as lavender. It's certainly a herb of some kind. But it's really interesting the way the flower grows in sort of one row at a time, one row of flowers at a time. Some of them get really, really long. These florets get really, really long with seeds behind and flowers and then buds ahead. So yes, it's not exactly the most photogenic plant in the world. Its proportions are all wrong, but I thought I would have a go at doing something with it today. And the first thing I'm going to do is to try to find some colours using this little Daler Rowney set, which is the traditional 10 colours. And I thought I would see what I can do in terms of finding the right colours for this plant from that set. So that's where I'm going to start, and we'll see where things go from there. I suppose I'd better put you out the way somewhere, maybe there. And the first thing I'm going to do is just actually swatch out these 10 colours. And I've got a little cheat sheet here, so I can see that that is lemon yellow. And that's a very dirty pan. And that's cadmium. Not really cadmium hue, but opaque. And vermilion hue. Hue shows up a lot these days. It's a popular man. And alizarin crimson. Prussian blue. Isn't that a beautiful colour? Really rich. I suppose this serves the purpose of wetting the paints as well, doesn't it? Ultramarine. Where would we be without ultramarine? And I'm going to apologise to the vermilion for being placed next to this rather pungent leaf green. And that is viridian hue. Oh, crumbs, that's opaque. That is yellow ochre. And lastly, burnt sienna. Okay. Well, I think my first effort is going to be to combine ultramarine with alizarin crimson. And I'll put something over here. So that's in the middle. That's heading towards the alizarin, and that's heading towards the ultramarine. These little flowers actually do have quite a lot of, yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's probably good enough, isn't it, for the purple there. the younger flowers are redder and the petals go bluer as they get older. Okay, so then the green. Well, what would happen if I took that mix and added a tiny bit? That's going to make a nice brown, sort of neutral shade. That's not far off the seeds, the seed heads. But if I want the green, then I'm obviously going to have to focus on the blue and not have so much red so I don't get so much brown. So let's see what happens if we do the simple thing. Of mixing the yellow with ultramarine with just a tad of that alizarin in there. Let's see. Okay, so if we have that lean towards the blue, we'll lean towards the yellow. Okay, I think we can do something with that. All right, so I'm going to use this paint on this part of the page here and just do something and see what happens. If you've been watching Diane Anton Studio and you know who I am, I'm Tamsin, by the way, I forgot to mention that at the beginning. But if you have been watching the studio and you know who I am because of watching the studio, you might be wondering, possibly, you never know, you might be wondering why I'm doing this all of a sudden. Painting, that is, because I've been the one that's been doing the editing. And it's an interesting question, which I'm asking myself. I've been sort of meaning to for a long time, but it hasn't quite happened. I've tried a couple of times and started and stopped, and of course I might stop again this time too, but there are two reasons, I think, two primary reasons. The first is that we have a technical reason for wanting to get this channel from the garden monetized. So there's basically a technical business related reason for wanting to do that. And not to do with making money, just to do with Google accounts and stuff. And the second reason is that I feel it would be good for me to do more painting, and also good for me to have, that's not a very nice colour, to have somewhere where I can say some of the things that I want to say about some of the things that I see happening in the world. And yeah. So that's why I'm here. To do myself some good and hopefully to do some other people some good as well. To come out from behind the screen. I spend a lot of time looking at screens, and they're not good for me. They're not good for any of us. So this gives me a reason to do something that doesn't involve a screen. So I'm not going to try to tell anyone how to paint because I don't have any experience myself. But if watching what I'm doing in some way encourages anyone to have a go themselves, maybe you've been watching the videos on Dan Anton Studio and haven't yet picked up a brush, that would make me very happy if watching me faff around with paint encourages you to faff around as well. It's a very pleasurable thing to do. It's not entirely clear why, but it's universal, isn't it? We all find mark making satisfying. Do you miss writing? I miss writing. Like the actual act. Not that I ever wrote novels, I don't mean that. But the actual act of picking up a pen in the course of the day and not having to make up reasons to do it. Not having to say to yourself, writing is good for you, so I'm going to write this list on paper, but just doing it because that was the only way. Not having to think about it so much, not having to analyse. You know, that was good, wasn't it? What do you think? Too much green, huh? Too green. What have I got on my brush? Oh yeah, purple. Okay. Let's go macro. They're like little bunny rabbit flowers, these. They're like miniature antirrhinums. They've got 2 long petals and then 3 little short ones, and then a sort of, they've got lines. I'm not going to try to do the lines, but they have little lines in the middle. And there's another 2, 3, 4. There's 4 of them round in a circle in each row, and then they come up, new ones, up above. Well, shall I try some leaves? That might be fun. They're crazy, these leaves. They look like a sea plant. They definitely look like they belong near the sea. They're quite grey, aren't they? I think I'm going to clean out this rather muddy well here. So what did I do? I had a little bit of that and a little bit of that. And it's basically pretty close to primary colours, isn't it? Let's see. I think I need a lot more yellow and a lot more blue to compensate. See, that's gone opaque, hasn't it? Which kind of, I don't know, does that work? I think it might. Let's see. I've been drawing since I was a child. I like pencils. It's like sometimes I think when I was growing up, I sort of stuck with the very first thing that I started to do. So I played the recorder because I was in an English school and that's what we did. And so I stuck with the recorder. And the first thing you pick up is a pencil, isn't it? So I stuck with that. Didn't sort of make the choice to move on to anything else. And I don't particularly like the recorder as an instrument, and I don't particularly like pencils as a art form, but that's just sort of what I did. I didn't really notice that I'd made a choice. I just did. Does that make any sense? I don't know whether that makes any sense, but anyway. So I've done quite a lot of drawing, pencil drawing over the years, but really very little painting, despite being hugely encouraged by my mother and my grandmother as well, actually. It's not exactly a close representation, is it? But it's fun. So my goal here is to not be representational, because using a pencil, a graphite pencil for art is, well, I've always just copied what I was looking at. So my goal here for myself is to let go of the desire to be accurate, or to put it another way, to let go of the lack of imagination that leads me to just do whatever's in front of me instead of making a decision. So this that I did a couple of days ago was an effort at that. 3 paintings of the same thing, 3 different ways. And now I think I'm just going to put the same colours on a page in some fashion that has nothing to do with this plant, and see what happens. It's a bit brave. I need a big brush to do a thing like that. Is that a brand new brush? No, that's not a brand new brush. It's just got paint in it. Okay. If, by the way, by any remote chance, you have landed on this channel and you don't know anything about Diane Anton Studio, please put a comment underneath, because you're probably the first. But if that's you, then I will tell you that Diane Anton Studio is a channel that my mother, Diane, and I have been working on since shortly after COVID. And we had a business together teaching children in England, and that business was lost to the pandemic closures and the post-pandemic measures. So we had a place in England as well, connected to the business, which we lost as well. So we were in France, in what had been Mum's sort of retirement / holiday home, and I was going back and forth between there and England. So we were there after the pandemic, and we found ourselves emigrating by accident because of that. And one day we found that the video that Mum had put up on YouTube, kind of experimentally, was being shown, and we thought, what the heck is going on there? And we had a look, and we saw that we had subscribers and people were watching videos. So we made more videos, and the rest, as they say, is history. So we've now got about 1,500 watercolor videos on there, on that channel. And she has developed a way of teaching without really directly teaching, but teaching how to not mind making mistakes and how to not mind experimenting and how to not start with a goal in mind, but to just start and to enjoy the colour. So if that sounds interesting and you don't already know the channel, then please head on over there. She does all the painting on that channel, and I have done all the editing, which means that I've watched all 1,500 videos through, usually in double or triple time, to be honest. I've learned how to listen to dialogue at triple speed. Not dialogue, monologue. I'm at risk of getting brown there, aren't I? This channel from the garden started out as my efforts at putting videos up to do with our garden and little farm smallholding that we have in France. But it's got to pivot, partly because my strength and health is not good enough to be able to actually handle the farming, which is upsetting a bit, but I just don't have the wherewithal really to heave sacks and so on. It's one of the reasons that we're doing what we're doing and moving our lives partly to Cyprus and so on. And you can hear all about that as well if you watch the studio. So we have this channel here, and now this is what's happening. I'm sticking with the primaries here. Not for any good reason really, except I thought I would see what would happen. I did a painting course once at Emerson College in Sussex. It wasn't just painting, but partly it was painting in Sussex in southeast England. Emerson College is an interesting place. Anthroposophists. And they have an understanding of the moods of the different colours. And that red, if you paint a lot of red, you're quite likely to start feeling energetic or possibly angry. And if you paint with a lot of blue, it can be grounding and calming and possibly depressing. The negative aspects would be what you would experience if you're out of balance yourself. And if you paint with a lot of yellow, it sort of takes you upwards into the higher realms, if you like. So it can be quite ungrounding and quite destabilizing if you're not in a brilliant place, but on the other hand, it can take you into the sort of spiritual realms, the realms of the higher realms. I think that's quite interesting. And in this course, there were some other people there, obviously, and this lady had us painting in the primaries like this, and one young chap from somewhere in the States who was struggling quite a lot in his life, he went completely off the rails on the day that we painted in red. He really couldn't handle it. It was quite astounding. So that's a thing that we don't take into account, isn't it? So I'm going to get the hairdryer out now, and I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to see about doing something on top. Okay, I think I'm going to swap to the Kuretake paints now, because I have a feeling that they will, their opacity will do me some favours here. I have no idea what I want to do, but I think I want to just put thick lines of paint. So I'm going to need a sheet to do some testing on, because I'm not that familiar with these colours. And I don't want to conflict with what I've got underneath. I might be doing the wrong thing here. It might be better to just stick to the same colour, but I know that the Daler Rowney ones are less likely to be opaque. So let's see what happens. I don't really mean opaque, I suppose. I just mean intense. Could see the colour dying back quite a lot as I dried that just now. That's the wrong blue. Which one of these is ultramarine? There is something very soothing about the sound of the brush and the feel of the brush on the paper. That is definitely a fact. The swishing of the water. I brought some ants in with those flowers, and I'm feeling a bit bad about it because they're so small I can't possibly rescue them. If I tried to touch them, they would immediately expire. So next time I bring flowers in, I'm going to have to shake them off to make sure that I don't bring an ant in to its untimely end. Removed from its friends by a strange alien from the sky. Well, this is not quite what I was expecting to have happen. I suppose this is what happens if you don't mix any colours, isn't it? I think I'm in a primary mood today. Let's force myself to mix. Mix on the page. I'm going to break that circle too. I'll get backgrounds if I do that, won't I? Never mind. That's why that's not working. That's not a very good purple, is it? Oh well. Can't I be having circles? Too structured. So we need to come. Should we break that edge? No, let's leave that edge where it is. Break this one though. I want to go into some kind of earth colour at the bottom here. Let's see. Okay, these lines have got to be broken. This paper's quite resilient, isn't it? It's not objecting to my abuse. Okay, well, hairdryer, beginning to look a little bit like an alien landscape. Looks just like lavender, doesn't it? Okay, well, gold. I've never used these paints before. I'm going to try this one that clearly isn't one of the favourites. And that's not terribly opaque, is it? Okay, so I know these need to be made wet, really. Yeah, it's got to be the one. Maybe a mixture of those two. Let's try that. Yeah, do you know what? I don't actually like the shimmery effect. So I think this is where I stop. Okay, so I didn't like that shimmery effect, so I put it under the sink and washed it off, and that's what I've got left. And I have no idea what to do with it. And I'm at risk of this becoming a stress rather than a pleasure, so I'm going to stop now and put that down and maybe come back to it and maybe not come back to it. And there are my first attempts. A little bit of colour mixing, a few flowers and a leaf, much more in my comfort zone. This is probably something I should give to an art therapist for their opinion. But there we are. So thank you for being with me again, and I will be back soon, I hope. And do check out Diane Anton Studio if you haven't already. And if you've come from there, then thank you for still being here. And I will see you soon. Bye. I'm back. It's tomorrow now. And I decided to turn this round, and I put it under the sink again, and I played with it again, and I added more layers. And I think I've now exhausted the paper. It doesn't seem to be working anymore. I think I've rubbed out all the sizing, so I'll stop there with it. But yeah. It's got some interesting colour combinations and things going on there. That was quite fun. Okay, I thought you might like to see where it ended up. Bye again.